Nico, welcome to Jason Unleashed. It's great to see you again.
It's good to see you. Thanks for having me.
You are a rock star, man. Today, the album Born has dropped. It's unleashed onto the world, man. 9 tracks of Nico, what I would say is pop or like neo pop meets soul meets dance techno infusion. This is amalgamation of all these great genres. How does it feel to know that this is out for the world to enjoy?
It feels pretty surreal. I've been working on this body of work for, it's been a couple years, honestly. And as you were saying, it's all of these different things. It really feels like this representation of all of it is you. Like as I was trying to find my sound, like it couldn't just be one thing because I am not just one thing, right? So it took a little bit to figure out what it was, but here we are. It feels amazing.
The video for Grapefruit, beautifully shot. Love it. Great song. I mean, every song there's not a skip on this album.
Music has always played such a huge role in my life. I grew up with a lot of different music in the house. I did musical theater as a kid. I got my first guitar when I was like 7 or 8 years old and kind of taught myself how to play. But it always kind of felt like an arm's reach away. It never really felt something that could be attainable for a career for whatever reason. Acting, on the other hand, I knew this is what I was going to do for the rest of my life. The second I found myself on stage, it was like, this is it. This is who I am. No questions asked. But for whatever reason, music felt and still kind of does a little further away. And it wasn't until I was on the show City on Fire on Apple, where I was in the studio pretty much full time recording music for that show, that I discovered that, hey, I could really do this. And it's been just this incredible journey.
I think it's interesting that you thought that this was not something that could actually happen for you, and then it took acting to lead you to this new chapter of your life. Would you say that this is a manifestation, if you will, then
For
of music
sure.
for you?
For sure. Yeah, wholeheartedly. Um, yeah, it's funny because I'm also talking a lot about my kids' book right now that also came out this week. And the entire idea of that kids' book is this idea that like you can be whatever you want when you grow up, kind of expanded on. You already are everything that you could ever imagine, right? Like I was always a musician, but like it took really seeing it for it to come true. And like me putting music out in the world is a direct representation of even that kid's book in some crazy way. I didn't plan for all of this to come out at the same time. It just kind of happened. Um, but yeah, I saw myself doing it. I wanted to take it as far as I possibly can, and now here we are. The music drops today. We're having this conversation, and who knows what the future looks like.
You saying that just gave me chills because it's like you connected the dots right now, but you had been connecting the dots. I mean, you became this father to Kilmer Dove, your beautiful daughter, and the music from Born was essentially being crafted as a soundtrack for that birth, which in and of itself was an awesome experience for you and Beth. But with the children's book, it's like this full circle thing of you just revealing and trying to spread the message of all of it is you. And the new book is called Olivette is You. This is your third book. Nico, you're like this triple threat actor, pop star, author. What made you want to write children's books?
Yeah, I just having kids. I mean, we were trying to get pregnant for a couple of years. We talked about that before, and I wanted to leave a legacy, so to speak. And as you're becoming a parent, you really start to imagine like the type of parent that you want to be, or that you're going to be, or that you don't want to be, for that matter. And I had put some work out in the world already, and I wanted to kind of like distill a children's version of this idea of All of It Is You, which is my poetry book. This idea that we are a mirror of the universe in its entirety. And I discovered this character, Olivette, and it just seemed like a very fun way to kind of go down this rabbit hole, so to speak.
It's a great book, and the illustrations are super cute. Well done.
It's beautiful. Yeah, she really crushed the illustrations.
I mean, I look at you and people, I mean, obviously, Nico, people love you. They have followed your career. I mean, in the roles you have played, I know we talked about the Mattachine family, and I had said that that was you at your most formidable. And that was me. And you're like this mutant that has like all these powers, right? You're like a class 5 mutant. You just keep surprising us with things. But I mean, as you, I think that you've shown your evolution so unapologetically in everything that you've done. How has becoming a parent shifted, or has it shifted your views on gender fluidity and gender identity?
Yeah, it's shifted my views on everything, really. I mean, I don't live in the same world that I did 5 years ago. None of us do, you
Yeah.
know. Uh, COVID really put a lot into perspective on just priorities and language. And then there was a revolution in this country and wars all over the world. And at the same time, we were trying to get pregnant and then had to go down IVF, or we were forced to look at our own biologies in different ways that we hadn't before. And then we had a miscarriage, and then we had a viable pregnancy, and then had a baby at home. And now I'm raising a daughter, and of course, I am a different person because of it. I think that like 5 years ago, it was very easy for me to have matter of fact conversations and draw lines in the sand, but I've seen so much more now than I ever even knew possible. And not to say that I like regret anything that I stood for or talked about in the past. It's part of who I am. I stand by it. But in that messaging, there was always room for growth and evolution. And if we're not challenging ourselves, like, how do we expect anyone else to, you know? Yeah, I just think like language has become more sensitive than even it was a few years ago. Everything is like so much more politicized and blown out of proportion. And right now, what I am focusing on is my house, my family, my work, and hopefully let the work speak for itself, you know?
I think that's when people have the most profound experience with their work and also the most success is when they are coming with intention. Like you just said, you're focusing on your family, your work, your health, and your home, right? Those are three things that you can control that are so like emblematic to a person. Like our home is our sanctuary, our family is our community, they're everything. Without health, what do you have, right? Nothing. If you're not, health is wealth. But you make a really good point about about how people politicize words. We're hyper vigilant, we're hypersensitive, but also you are entitled to feel the way you feel. And the fact that you are able to look back at who you were 5 years ago and see the growth, Nico, that's incredible. There's people who go their whole lives without knowing that they've evolved positively, or in some instances, evolved negatively. And I've seen just following you and watching you, I've seen how you've grown. And this book and this album and all the work you've done on and off screen is just so awesome. Who instilled that like strong moral backbone in you? Who gave, like, where does that come from?
Yeah, that's a good question. It comes from different people in my family for sure, both as like examples of it and examples not of it. uh, and I just have some amazing friends and mentors throughout the years. And I think more so than anything right now, it's just my kids. I mean, we're pregnant again. We just announced this week that we have another baby coming, and
Congratulations.
thank you. But I want to be the best version of a parent, of a father, as I have ever seen or could possibly imagine. And in order for that to be true, like you got to put in the work, and the world is a wild place right now. And if I can make my home less wild, I will.